Joey, we're going to go with episode 12 of In the Bushes podcast today. I'm joined by one of my favorite guests, one of my favorite people on this planet, Charlie Morgan. Charlie, thanks for being here, dude.
Of course. Anytime you need me, I'm here.
So, Charlie, for those of you who don't know, and this is kind of our announcement here, Charlie's going to be doing our remote hitting for all age groups. Really excited about it. For me, this was probably one of my favorite conversations that I had with him is what we wanted to do and how we wanted to build this remote training. My first thought was let's get Charlie involved and just speak to that. What do you think about it? You excited for the future? Just kind of give a mission statement for me really quick.
Yeah, I mean, always passionate about the game and wanting to be involved, helping the kids in whatever capacity I can.
Mm-hmm.
Now, it needed to be a special opportunity in the right situation for me to sort of take that next step, which this obviously was, and it turned out to be a no-brainer for me. So definitely excited to learn more about the biomechanics side of things, which I feel like we already have a solid foundation going. And obviously continuously learning from that platform. Yeah, man, just fired up to get it going and to grow the thing.
I love it. So for those of you, that don't know, Charlie, me and him actually grew up together in Virginia, played a lot of like travel youth stuff together and, kind of came up through the ranks, high school baseball together and the whole way through travel ball, all of it. So I've known Charlie more than half my life. How long is it? What, sixth grade or so, something like that? Seventh grade?
Yeah, well, I think the first time we crossed paths, we didn't know each other.
Mm-hmm.
So we were 9, playing on 9-10 All-Stars.
Yeah.
Youngest kids on each team.
Yeah.
Went into extra innings. There was like 700 people there. I think we ended up coming out on top.
Oh yeah, we didn't go to the best little league. Charlie's little league was a lot better than mine, but
both on the bump.
Yeah.
Shoving it at 9.
Shoving at 9, dude.
Going out. So I think that was the first time we crossed paths.
Yeah.
Then I'm sure we did as we got older through the Central and West Springfield battling through each other. But yeah, I want to say it was like 12, 13.
Mm-hmm.
But what's interesting about it all is that how the borders were drawn.
Yeah.
You're sort of in a Bermuda Triangle between Central Springfield, West Springfield, and Lorton.
Yeah.
So you could have been with like the Lorton guys, which was another solid program,
mm-hmm.
or you could have come to the good guys and been on our side.
It's on the other side of the tracks.
Would have been awesome.
Yeah, no, I think it worked out well. But obviously would have loved to. We'll get to kind of like high school and stuff, and who we played with, and a lot of the talent that we had at a. We were lucky at a public school to have some D1 commits, a lot of D1 commits. So able to be around some good baseball, our whole entire lives, which I think if you're around it, the longer you're around better players, and not just from a talent perspective, but from a group of players that continue to push each other and breed, tough mentalities and just correct mindsets within the game of baseball, it's going to prepare you for a lot of different things, including life. So I know there's probably some people, UNC fans listening. Bren Renner was actually went to our high school as well. Charlie and I had a really good relationship with Bren, still talk to this day. I want to ask you, what was something that you remember that he brought to you or just the team in general? I mean, just speak to kind of Bren's mentality and what it meant to the group there.
Yeah, so Bren's a unique individual. And so like I say the least. And so my dad bringing me up, it was always no excuses, no BS, don't be soft.
Mm-hmm.
Bren took that to the absolute next level.
Yeah.
Which was good to have. I mean, you needed to know how to be a savage. You needed to know how to never back down, essentially, and always want to destroy your opponent, whether we were up, whether we were down, no matter how good or bad they were.
Yeah.
From that standpoint, but also just how to work. Get after it in the weight room, get after it in the cardio, doing plyos. So just every aspect, that intensity that he brought, I feel like really rubbed off and impacted us in a positive way. And I mean, shoot, to this day, still shoot texts back and forth, talking trash to each other. He was texting Tucker Tobin and I this morning for the past couple of days, sending some David Goggins stuff, and I'm getting on him for not doing cardio and not lifting, and it's fun banter.
Yeah, David Goggins. I mean, I think he takes Bren to the next level. We can throw some Goggins stuff in there, right? Stay hard.
Put a lot of miles in every day. Run over 20 miles a day.
I want to kind of go back a little bit to we were talking about youth baseball and stuff. You know, I want to ask you. I know you've worked with a lot of professional hitting coaches, even from a young age. Charles Poe, right, was kind of one of your first influences on the game of hitting. What did he kind of instill on you, or leave a lasting impression? What was it about Charles that you liked?
And I can't say enough about Charles Poe.
Mm-hmm.
Just growing up sort of in the Carolina League at Tillman Cannons at the time,
Yeah.
Charles Poe drove my parents' third car. So him and Mike Cameron, that was their transportation. And so Charles has known me since I was, 18 months old.
Right.
And so just how personable he was, first and foremost, and trust the guy. Every stage of life, I trust that guy with anything. So personable, that trust is there, but then also how he communicates.
Mm-hmm.
And he communicates in a way that you understand, but also that you feel like making these certain adjustments are extremely attainable.
Mm-hmm.
It's something that you can do right then and there. He doesn't make it seem like, you're climbing a mountain with no shoes on.
Yeah.
It's just everything is positive. He keeps it real.
Right.
And he'll put you in the dirt if needed, cross him,
You have to.
which respect the heck out of that. And
Mm-hmm.
I need that in sort of any form of role model in my life. Just keep it real.
Right.
But I mean, just his realness, how he was able to communicate. I mean, he's like an older brother to me.
Sure.
So he's out in Mexico right now coaching the La Paz Dolphins.
Is he really? So he's still going?
But yeah, he's still going.
Yeah.
He's been coaching professionally for 20 plus years.
Yeah.
He crossed the picket line, you know,
Oh, really? I didn't. Okay.
crossed the picket line.
Yeah.
So
That was back in 91, 92,
93,
93. That's
1993.
Yeah.
And so he was a top prospect kind of guy, crossed the picket line, never got up, probably as a result.
Yeah.
But he actually was in Double A with the Birmingham Barons, and Michael Jordan took his spot.
Oh, really?
Yep.
I didn't know
So
that.
I have a Michael Jordan bat in my house.
Do you really?
That MJ gave CPO. That
Wow. So is that part of your dad's collection there?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Charles broke it, and then
Wow.
gave the trip.
Did Mike sign it?
No.
Speaking of, guys, big announcement here. I don't know if you can see that. Got Jumpman polos, so glad that came out organically there. But have some Jordan polos, some Jordan gear for the boys, and
No one can buy them.
even though you can't buy them, it's just for us.
Not yet, right?
Not yet, but maybe in the future. Joey, what do you think?
Sure. People want them.
Joey, we'll see.
I'll buy one.
All right, Charlie's in. Perfect. Am I good? Okay. Yeah. So yeah, that's cool about Charles. I didn't know that about the whole Michael Jordan bat. I know your dad's got a really cool collection. We can hit on that if you want. I mean, I know sports memorabilia and just sports in general are a big part of your family and your upbringing, like we've kind of mentioned. But not a lot of people have the sports collection that Trip Morgan has. What do you think his favorite piece of just memorabilia that he's got is?
He has my favorite pieces that aren't baseball pieces. He has a Mike Tyson signed boxing glove and a Muhammad Ali signed boxing glove.
That's cool.
So those are two items that I would love to have, that I'm envious of. But his coolest item, he has a bat that hit the first home run in New York / San Francisco Giants franchise history.
Really? Who hit it? Do you know?
John Montgomery Ward back in like 1883.
Wow.
The thing looks like a piano leg. Looks like a piano leg, but
Piece of lumber, dude.
Yeah.
Piece of oak.
and so I mean he's been cool about it. Like the San Francisco Giants have contacted him. It's
Yeah.
been in magazines,
Oh, really? I didn't know all
in
that.
their media guides. Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. So
Wow.
that's probably
So
the
they're trying to get it
coolest.
from him.
They are, but they're not pushy about it.
That's cool.
But he's been nice enough to extend it out to them and
Yeah.
and have them use it sort of
sick.
as they may.
That's sick.
So that's probably the coolest item for sure.
I mean, that's over how many years old now? Forever?
150,
Yeah, that's a pretty cool
140.
piece. That's
Yeah.
a cool piece I think that you want to hang on to. Let's transition a little bit into the high school career and we'll go here. Well, we're going to talk about the Dominion Dragons and being coached by John Batchelor because John Batchelor in this area, a lot of people do know the name. He is a mainstay in the coaching world. Great relationship with him. I've known him since I was a kid. So is Charlie. So what was it like for you playing for John Batchelor on the Dominion Dragons, and that smirk's telling me a lot. Obviously, I'm smiling too.
Yeah, I mean it was a positive. You know, at
Yeah.
the time I hated it, to be quite honest. But
Hated it or hated him?
Combination.
A little bit of both.
I don't hate anybody.
Yeah.
But I didn't love it at times.
Sure.
But I mean, it was a huge positive in something that I was drawn to from the get-go.
Mhm.
You know, just the way that he commanded attention
Yeah.
and spoke to us. You know, I love that.
Right.
I love that. He commanded a certain type of attitude, and he sort of instilled, you know, growing up, knowing Tugwell, wanting to play at Tugwell Yards, and then having Batch sort of be there when we were in 7th, 8th grade and sort of remind us and really let us know about the tradition of West Springfield baseball.
Right.
Definitely, I feel like got us geared up.
Yeah.
I always have pride in Springfield and want to dominate anybody who's from another area, but that definitely took it to the next level.
Sure.
So I mean, playing with him from the Dominion Dragons, I mean, it was raw. You know, he gave it to you raw and he gave it to you real. Sometimes too real at times, but he was a young guy. He was a young cat,
Yeah, he
and
was.
as he's grown and matured throughout life, you know, I'm sure, just like everybody, you know,
You learn.
and you get better at what you do.
Yeah.
Which, not saying he was bad at what he did by any means, but his style has sort of changed as he has gotten more mature,
Right.
settled down, now has a family. But yeah, no, Batch is the man, and those days were fun and they were entertaining
Yeah, you definitely learn about a lot quick.
on
Playing
the
for
field
him.
and off the field.
Absolutely. I love the guy. He's been a mainstay in my life for forever. So really fortunate to have him. And like Charlie said, he instilled a different sort of mentality in you at a young age that I think can benefit a lot of people. So
Yeah, I mean,
love the guy.
probably one of the reasons why I'm moving down here.
Yeah, oh yeah, it's a big
You know?
reason why I'm down here too. He helped me kind of get acclimated to the area quick and find the right neighborhoods, all those type of things. So
Yeah.
he
Does a great job at showing you the tough love and being like, hey, if you don't move down here, you're an idiot.
yeah.
You're gonna miss out on the gold rush.
Well, I'm glad we did when we did. So, kind of moving into the high school career, obviously we played together. So for you, just talk me through kind of each year, what you learned, how you developed as a player and a person, not making varsity as a freshman, which wasn't allowed, I guess.
Wasn't allowed.
So let's go through that JV year first. And did that, obviously I know it pissed you off because it pissed me off, but what did you learn from that? What did you take away from not making the team right away?
Yeah, I mean, first thing I learned from it is you should always question authority to an extent. So John James, I appreciate you sort of instilling that in me, and not taking Bobby and I as freshmen, because we definitely would have contributed and gone a little bit farther that year if you did. But
He said it, yeah.
definitely enjoyed my time down on JV, having another year with Batch to sort of toughen us up, being able to compete every single day.
Sure.
But I mean, freshman year, sort of learning patience, and that things aren't always fair.
Right.
I mean, playing baseball, you learn that from a young age, but going out there and seeing guys just because they're seniors up there playing,
Yeah.
when they're not as talented, you realize life isn't fair.
Right.
And so sort of definitely took that out of freshman year for sure. Toughen you up a little bit, dealing with a little bit of adversity. Then we get called up at the end of the year and catching bullpens, I'm like, all right.
Yeah.
I
was
know-
catching bullpens, I think, at one point.
We were both catching bullpens.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I was like, all right, Bobby might get some mound time. I might get an AB or two because my second baseman over here, I'm not going to say any names, can't swing it a lick.
Yeah.
But no, just a bullpen catcher, no BP. It's all good, though.
Yeah.
It's all good. Patience.
Yeah. Like you said, patience is patience is a virtue, right? That's a saying. I think that, if anything, that's what I took away from it. It's not always going to be handed to you or not always going to be given to you, even though if you deserve it or not from a talent perspective, sometimes you have to wait your turn. And I think that helps. And that helped me going into college, and I'm sure it helped you, which we'll kind of hit on here in a little bit. But, obviously taking those lessons to the sophomore year, junior year, what were some things that you kind of took away from that, and how did that, improve you as a player?
Yeah, I mean, sophomore year, going in there starting as a sophomore, middle of the order bat at a program like West Springfield, I mean, there is pressure that's associated with it. Of course, if you haven't done it, you don't necessarily know how things are going to go.
Right.
So there were some definitely nerves there. But I think, from the first at bat in the first scrimmage to the first game to my first home run against Lake Braddock, you know, the confidence grew and grew and grew. The work that you put in sort of helps lay that foundation, but
Sure.
until you prove it on the field, it doesn't really mean anything.
Right.
So sophomore year was more of a confidence thing in knowing that I knew that I belonged, but I didn't want to just belong. I wanted to dominate
Yeah.
and to be the best person on the field
Right.
in the state.
Yeah. And then, you know, going into your senior year, obviously being the best player in the state of Virginia, setting numerous records, and I think it literally is every single record in West Springfield high school history you have as a hitter, correct?
The majority of them. I don't know about doubles and triples because most of the extra base hits left the yard.
I love it. No, I mean, but honestly, you had a phenomenal senior year. For me to watch and be a part of it was something that I'll never forget. Obviously, probably one of my better baseball memories I have, you know, just as a player or anything. Really fortunate for that. What was that year, that magical run that we were able to go on? What was that like for you? And what do you take away from it? What do you remember most? Those type of things.
Yeah, I mean, it was crazy. What I remember most, I remember a lot of things, but I remember starting the year because you and I were the 1-2 punches on the mound. So I started the year on the bump because we were playing Robinson. They weren't that great. I think we had Braddock game 2, so we were saving you for Braddock or South County. I don't remember, but going out there, I'm going to shove, I'm going to dominate, you know, throwing mid-upper 80s. And first 2 batters I face, back-to-back home runs.
Yeah.
One of them probably went like
that, yeah.
400 feet off the light pole in center. And after I
was
gave
playing
up those,
center.
you were.
Yeah.
And I got mad at you for not robbing that one. And being Spider-Man and going up and getting it. But
Sorry.
after those first 2 home runs, I was like, good Lord.
We suck.
This is going to be a long year.
Yeah.
One thing, rewinding a little bit, one thing I do remember is our junior year, we were stacked. You know, we had 61 guys, four guys going to play ACC, SEC baseball.
Yeah.
2 other guys playing at George Mason.
At a public school, too.
At a public school. At a
Yeah.
public school. And the cool part is we all grew up together.
And there's a couple other guys that played like D2 and JUCO, too. Like, I feel like our whole
Yeah.
lineup kind of did something, you know?
Yeah.
So,
I mean, there's definitely people I'm forgetting, and there's other guys that could have played that just decided not to.
yeah.
But we were supposed to win it all that year, and I remember you and I, we had a meeting first week of school our senior year, and it's like we're not feeling like this ever again like we felt last year. We lost in the state semifinals, worst feeling ever.
Yeah.
We're not feeling like that again last year. We're winning it this year.
Right.
To be honest, didn't quite believe it, but I feel like it needed to be said because we needed that buy-in.
Yeah, from everybody.
And so as our senior year went on and as the wins started piling up, yeah, we have a shot at this.
Yeah.
You know, we really clicked, laid butts down, got timely hits.
Yeah.
But there were definitely some times that another thing that stuck out to me was Fairfax. Game at Fairfax, I got hit around a little bit first few innings, and we were down. And it was bottom 7. We were down like 2 or 3 runs. I remember looking around like, all right, this is it.
Yeah.
My next game's going to be at LSU,
Yeah.
at Wake Forest. Somehow we pulled it out.
Yeah.
Which I thought was really, really cool. What else? What sticks out for you?
I don't know, man. I think just the way that we came together as a team, and everybody, I think what gets overlooked is obviously every team's going to have their superstars, right? But the people that go and do their job, that are like almost those role players, like they make the superstars' job a lot easier, and it puts them in positions to succeed, you know? So I think we lost a lot of talent from that junior year, but going into that next year, we had guys that were okay playing their role, and like they did it better than most. You know what I mean? So I think the way that we were able to kind of mesh and play as a team, and I know that's some like kind of coach speak, but it's true. You know, you can always feel when a team kind of comes together, has good chemistry, and buys into whatever it is, right? Nobody's trying to take the spotlight from anybody, and we're just trying to win, and everybody knows their job, and they did it very, very well. So I think that's what sticks out. And then that team is the one that ended up winning the state championship compared to the roster before that. I mean, we should have, right? So I think that's what sticks out to me is it doesn't always have to be about talent. It's about bringing a team together, becoming a collective unit, and just getting after it and trusting each other. So I think that's what sticks out.
did we click before or after JJ kicked the bucket over spring break?
Before, I think.
Yeah.
Right?
I thought so too. I think spring break we sort of bagged it in, or some people bagged it in a little bit, but also we were playing and starting our 6 and 7 starters. So what do you expect? We're gonna get hit around a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, I think we were all pretty bought in from the jump there, and I think our schedule allowed us to have a lot of success because it could be our 1 and 2 guys once a week, and then we had a pretty good group of guys that could hit a little bit and allowed us to have success, like I said. So I don't know. I would like to say before, I think we were all pretty bought in before, and I think we just got along so well too. And that was a big difference. But
Yeah.
I don't know. I'll let JJ listen to this, and he can decide. But John, you tell me, man. So yeah, like I said, Charlie, you own every single record in West Springfield history. Had a phenomenal year. Then we go on to Wake Forest. Obviously Wake Forest being a powerhouse in college baseball now. I want you to speak a little bit on Coach Walter. I know, at least from outside looking in and just talking to you, the relationship that he's able to create with players is probably second to none. I mean, I know, is it Kevin Jordan?
Yeah.
The whole kidney story. I mean, not a lot of human beings are doing that. So obviously he's a great man, and what he stands for, he's been there forever. Like, he is Wake Forest baseball. So I want you to kind of speak on him, first impressions of him, what lessons he taught you, that type of thing.
Yes, I mean, first impressions of him, I mean, since the moment he started recruiting me and I met him on campus, you could tell he's a high character individual and high character guy.
Right.
I stepped on campus and I knew KJ, there was something was going on.
Yeah.
And then a few months later, Coach Walt is saying, and we're his first recruiting class. So it's not like
That's okay, because he was in the same class as you, right?
Yeah, same class.
That's right.
So
that's right.
this is his first recruiting class, going into his first full season as the head coach at Wake Forest with his guys.
Yeah.
And he's deciding to give his kidney to an incoming freshman who has never played for him. And I know he's not going to say any of this stuff, but it's just it just elevates what he did even more.
Yeah.
Just the perspective that he has is unbelievable, and it is second to none.
Right.
But
not a lot of people are going out like, oh, okay, I'll go get tested and see if this is if we're a match here.
Yeah.
Like that's your first thought. I mean, that's a pretty special human being there.
Yeah, it's unreal, and just the way that he communicates. I mean, he married Kevin Jordan last month. I was at his wedding.
Yeah.
So that was a super special moment.
Yeah. So he officiated it or whatever?
He officiated it, which was really, really cool. But, I mean, there's nothing that, to this day, I reach out to him. If I need something, he's going to find a way to help.
Yeah.
And that's just who he is with myself and the thousands of other former players that he has.
Right.
And one thing that stuck out this year is I was watching him after we won the Super Regional. And, of course, he's happy. Gives all the coaches bumps and hugs. He's the first one out there past home plate on the Alabama side to shake their hands.
Yeah.
Everybody's on the field after the game, celebrating, families, alumni. Everybody's out in the outfield putting up the 2023 Super Regional banner. He's making his rounds, thanking everybody for being there and showing support, and it's like that. He gets it, and that's why they've been so successful.
Yeah.
Because the guy gets it, and people can tell when something's real and when something's fake.
Yeah. 100%.
So he's just a special guy, man. It's hard to explain, but when you talk to him and he looks in your eyes and says something, you believe it.
Yeah.
Because he means it.
Right. And you don't find a lot of people like that, especially, in college baseball. It's hard to find people that say what they mean. And just all the success that they've had and what he's been through it's pretty unique and special. So it's a great story, and couldn't be happier for that program. Obviously, I went to Ole Miss, and I love the Rebs, and I'm a huge Rebs fan. But the Deeks have a special place in my heart because of you, and they're obviously my number 2 team. So
I appreciate that. And one more thing about Walt, and he told me this from the start, and he was a man of his word. He said, so my parents asked, because when you're getting recruited, you hear a bunch of things like, okay, like if he doesn't perform, if he gets hurt, what's going to happen to his scholarship?
Right.
And he said, if Charlie doesn't perform here, it's our fault.
Yeah.
And I mean, I had some up and down years there, I didn't perform as well as I should have there. I got injured multiple times, so
Yeah.
there were plenty of chances for him to go in there and yank the scholarship, which I played with guys at SEC schools in summer ball. One kid, Tommy John surgery, you know him. I'm not going to name names or schools, but played against the kid and
I don't know who you're
got
talking
TJ and yanked a scholarship the next day.
about. Wow.
Next day.
That
So
happens a lot now, man. Like
I know.
especially now with the transfer portal, like I've seen so many stories like that. Guys that are in here or wherever they're training, like it's sad, man. It's like there's no accountability, and I get it. There's so many moving parts to it, but it's sad for the kids. It's sad for the coaches. It's a completely different ball game now. It's hard to navigate, and I feel like speaking to Walt, what he's done a great job of doing that. So, yeah, I mean, and then obviously there's a cool moment during the College World Series that I think a lot of people talked about and ESPN kind of brought up is when Coach Salento, right?
Billy Salento.
Bill Salento, when there was mid at bat, I think it was, and I don't know if he initiated the meeting or the player did, or because it was a couple different times they did that, didn't they? Where it was mid at bat or before that bat, and called him down to kind of third baseline and started chatting with him about whatever it was, approach or signs or whatever. But what would you do? Was that something he was known for then? Did you like when people would do that? What was your kind of take on that?
So when I was playing, Walt was the third base coach, and Billy was in the dugout.
Okay.
And I think this was Billy's first year being the third base guy because Walt wanted to be in the dugout, giving feedback, picking guys up
Right.
in between at-bats or what have you. And so you would get that with Billy before an at-bat. Walt would occasionally bring you out there.
Right.
Now, what I'll say about the Salento situation is he's the most selfish individual I've known in terms of what he gives as a coach.
Selfless.
Selfless.
Okay.
I say selfish?
Yeah.
Sorry, Billy.
Selfish. You suck.
No, absolutely not. No, selfless.
Okay.
Anytime you need him to throw BP, to give you front flips, to talk about approach or hitting or workouts or conditioning or how bad your body feels or just life, he was there.
Yeah.
And he's got a family himself.
Yeah.
He has wife and beautiful daughters, and so it's like the man's always at the field, always grinding, and he's in it with you. So he is a coach, but he's more like a brother figure.
Yeah.
To where he can lay into you a little bit and you respect it because he's there and because he believes in you.
Right.
So I mean, circling back to the question, if this was Dominion Dragons and John Batchelor came and did that to me, I would have felt a different way about it. Not because it was John Batchelor, but because of my mindset at the time. It's like, no, I'm out here to kill the pitcher.
Yeah.
I know what I'm doing.
Right.
Whereas as you get older and progress and learn more about yourself in the game, I mean, sometimes the best thing you can do is take a step back, take a deep breath, and slow things down.
Patience.
So, exactly.
Yeah.
It's that patience trait, man.
Yeah. Thanks,
So,
James, for that.
Yeah. I mean, I would say from high school on, I would react well.
Yeah.
React well to it, absolutely.
No doubt.
And obviously what he did worked.
Yeah, for sure, man. I mean, like I said, they've had a heck of a run, and all the tech that they've been able to kind of instill, and we'll get into that. Obviously, we have all the same stuff, and what we do here is unique, and I think it's a big part of why we are able to develop guys so rapidly and at a high level. And you saw what Wake did when they started utilizing the tech too. They were able to kind of get guys. I mean, Rhett Lauder, right? One of, if not the best pitcher in college baseball last year. Him and Paul Skeens, I think both. For Rhett, he wasn't a very highly recruited guy, right? I mean, you probably know it better than me, but
yeah. So I don't want to botch it, but I don't think he had many, if any, D1 offers outside of Wake Forest. And Wake was interested in him, but the story that I heard was Salento was eating at Texas Roadhouse, and Lauder's travel ball coach saw him and was essentially like, hey, this kid's going to be an ACC pitcher of the year kind of kid.
Was he having the biscuits from there, the rolls from Texas Roadhouse?
Got to have the biscuits
Yeah,
from
you
Texas
gotta have
Roadhouse.
those, yeah.
I mean, shoot, if I go to Texas Roadhouse, don't care what kind of diet I'm on, I'm crushing some of those
Get
rolls.
the rolls, man.
So, yeah, I mean, he said, look, and if he doesn't pan out to be that, I will never recommend another kid to you again.
Really?
Yep.
Wow.
And so that's what got Louder
Putting
to Wake.
balls on the table there, dude.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
worked out.
Yeah,
Tell you
dude.
that wherever that coach is, he was right.
Yeah. He's laughing
right.
now, dude.
Yeah.
Good for him.
Yeah.
So yeah, obviously going through your career at Wake, what are some things that you learned there? Obviously the college years are so different than high school, right? High school, you're a completely different human from 14 or whatever to 18 years old as a senior. You go through so many physical changes, but from a college perspective, I feel like a lot of it is more mental, and you learn more about yourself as an individual from the mental game or emotions, being able to control those, those type of things. So what for you did you kind of take away from Wake that that has kind of instilled you and kind of brought you through life?
Yeah, I mean, time management is huge, and that's a big game changer when you get to college. I mean, it's just you're in class, then you're at the field all day,
Right.
Then you have to get your study hall hours in, then you have to find a way to eat and keep your weight on or gain weight, work out in addition to what you're already doing.
Yeah.
Stretch, hit extra, catch extra, throw your pens. It's just a lot.
Yeah.
So time management for sure, and then also again learning what hard work really is.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't matter, and that's part of the reason why I love the game of baseball. It doesn't matter. Football, you can be the fastest one on the field. Most likely, you're going to score some touchdowns.
Sure.
Basketball, you can be the most athletic. You're getting some buckets.
Mhm.
Baseball, you can put in the most work, be the most athletic, have the best hand-eye coordination. Doesn't mean you're going 3 for 3 every day.
Yeah.
So the failure that's involved, hard work helps, but doesn't guarantee you anything.
Right.
Which I sort of love. Now, one thing, I don't know about your experience at Ole Miss. One thing that I was surprised and sort of disappointed about while playing ACC baseball is the guys were too nice.
What do you mean?
Players were too nice. Like, I would hit a double. Shortstop at Clemson's pat me on the butt saying nice swing. I like playing with a chip on my shoulder. Like, say something to me. Like, I'm going to say something and come back at you.
Yeah.
I didn't like how nice people were.
Yeah, it was
because everybody's playing for sort of a paycheck to get to that next level.
Sure. I don't know. I think baseball is such a unique game to where that's probably more of it's how more people or look at it. But I think just being from a colder weather area, I think it kind of instills a little bit of a different mentality. I think in the South and different regions of the country, it's a little different. That's the only way I can describe that or point. Like, that's the one thing maybe I can point my finger on of like that's why it's different. But you watch the big league games, guys are joking when they're talking at second base or first base. They're smiling and being more personable. So obviously it's different. What in the hell is he doing? Keep that in there. So yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's definitely weird. I come kind of coming from where we were in high school. Like it was a learning curve for me too. I think at Ole Miss it was similar to that. But I completely understand what you're saying. It's different.
It is. And I'm not saying it's a bad thing.
Yeah.
It's just different. And you play the game to have fun. So if guys are having fun, joking around, that's fine. That wasn't me. I wanted to come for your head.
Yeah.
And I still do.
Yeah.
Like when I was coaching,
Uh-huh.
I'm sure we'll get to that later. I'm coming for that other coach's head.
Yeah. I think you should. I mean, why not? Why not try to be the best at what you're doing? Why not, have that mentality of just trying to dominate whatever it is in any aspect of life, right? I think just from lessons that you take from playing, it's like you learn how to compete and learn how to try to be the best at whatever the hell it is you're trying to do. So I think that's something that a lot of people need in this world. So kind of transitioning you, going into coaching in real world after you're done playing college ball, what was that transition like for you as far as like just playing and then trying to figure out what it is that you want to do next?
It was tough.
Yeah.
It was tough. I had no idea. I still don't know what I want to do. Still don't. I'll tell that to anybody to their face.
Yeah.
I don't know what I want to do.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm going to make the most of every day and enjoy every day doing it.
Right.
But yeah, no, it was a tough transition, tough adjustment. You were there with me,
Mm-hmm.
because it's like the talent level you feel is there.
Yeah.
And so it's like, how long do you hold on? How long do you keep trying, keep pushing, and this and that?
Right.
And some of the funnest times I had, because, college was so regimented on the program.
Sure.
And this is not a knock at all, but I had a blast, when you would come back and we would be training, chopping wood,
Mm-hmm.
pushing cars, throwing up in the street,
Yeah.
just being savages.
And that's a real story too. Me and him, I think we had a few 6 a.m. workouts, like when I would come back for the off season, and we would get what kind of car was it? What did we have?
I had a Hyundai Accent.
Yeah, Hyundai
So
accent.
it was a little guy.
Yeah.
Wasn't easy to push though.
No, it wasn't. So we would have a quick story. Like we're in the middle of the road in my neighborhood, and this
Snow.
is snow. It's about 6:30 in the morning, and we're out there just trying to be hardos, and we're pushing the car, and we just got done with a different workout, and I remember some guy I throw up because of just pure exhaustion, and this guy rolls up next to me. He's like, "Hey man, you okay? Do you need any help?" I guess he's going to work or something. And we're like, "No man, we're good." So that's kind of the mentality that I guess you bring in what we do here. But those are, like you said, those are so much fun, and I had a great time doing that stuff, even if it was torture.
Oh, it was the best.
Yeah.
It was the best.
So, when you kind of obviously getting out of baseball, you want to hang around and be around coaching and all that, right? That's I think what a lot of baseball players want to do because they love the game and they want to be around it. For you, kind of, I know what was kind of the coaching timeline like for you? I can't remember. Were you helping out West Springfield before the tournaments that we were doing? Was it around the same time, or how did that look?
Yes, that's interesting. I mean, once I was done with baseball, I was a little bit bitter about it.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't really want to watch it. Didn't really want to be around it.
Sure.
But I wanted to help my little brother Jimmy.
Yeah.
And so he's 7 years younger than me, so I wanted to be there for him. So I started just doing cage work with him,
Right.
helping his travel team out and coaching with him. And of course he went to West Springfield, so that's sort of where I got reintroduced back to Olms. And in the off seasons I'd go back and throw them BP and hit fungos and talk to the guys.
Sure.
But it was my brother that really brought me back in and sort of helped me get into coaching full time, which honestly was a blessing in disguise and something I never thought I would do after the game. I always loved it.
Right.
I knew I always wanted to have a family and I'd be involved in it if my kids decide to play.
Sure.
But yeah, no, I mean it was really Jimmy, man.
Yeah. Okay, I didn't know that. So,
Yeah.
kind of get into there. What were some things that you found that you loved about coaching? What were some things that really kind of made you want to do that?
I mean, it's a lot. I felt like, and I still feel like I have a lot of knowledge that I can pass to guys, and that I can help and make an impact. I'm competitive, so if I'm working with a kid, I want them to be the best.
Yeah.
Not for selfish reasons, but because I want what's best for that kid.
Mm-hmm.
At the same time, I love competing. So when I first started coaching at West Springfield, throughout my tenure at West Springfield, I would be doing all the off-season workouts. I'd be lifting with the guys.
Right.
And I would always tell them there's nothing that I'm having you do that I'm not willing to do myself. So all the conditioning that would be brutal, people would be throwing up, I would do it with them.
Sure.
Which, again, helps from a respect factor. But it felt like I had, 80 little brothers.
Mm-hmm.
From all the years I was coaching. There's we still keep in touch.
Right.
From a remote hitting side, the guys that moved on, I was doing some of that in a less organized, more chaotic kind of way, but
Sure.
giving feedback from a workout and in hitting perspective to guys that do go on and play the next level. But yeah, I mean, it's just sort of the camaraderie and being able to compete as a team, and also that WS, man, it's something special. I don't know, like when I moved down here, thought about coaching, but it's
Talking about in high school.
yeah,
Yeah.
not the same.
What like? Why not? You don't have to talk about it if you don't want, but I just curious because it's obviously I think a lot of it sometimes has to do with generation or whatever, or if it's just the area or what.
I mean, it'd have to be the right situation.
Yeah.
Now you get us involved.
Yeah.
It might be a little bit different of a story.
Sure.
I mean, we'll be winning everything.
Yeah.
Just like we had no business winning that Fall Classic tournament, playing against Madison High School. We played 6 games in like a day.
Yeah.
20-degree weather.
Had a great time doing it.
We had 11 guys, and we dominated.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun, man. And like me and you work well together when it comes to coaching. Obviously, you were a little bit more fiery and get after it a little bit more. Me, I'm kind of more methodical and maybe a little stoic when it comes to things, but I think that's what you need. I think you need different personalities in the clubhouse, in the dugout, whatever it is that kind of bring the best out of guys, and I think that's what makes what we do and we're going to do here so unique is that we're able to kind of continue that trend of what we've been doing since we were kids. So for me, that's a lot of fun. So I want to talk about remote hitting here and kind of ask you, what does that mean to you? What are kind of the things that you're looking for? Are you excited? Those type of things. What do you got?
Yeah, I mean, of course I'm excited. It's something new that isn't really being offered throughout the country.
Yeah.
And what remote hitting sort of means to me is the access that you get. It's not, you're not coming in for a lesson. You're not there for 60 minutes. I always tell guys, and I truly believe this, that your best hitting coach is yourself, because you're the only one that's in the box with you every single time.
Right.
So we can give you the tools in different pieces of armor to help you go out into battle, but it's going to be up to you to use it. So the access that you get with remote hitting is second to none. The technology side of it is mind-blowing.
Yeah.
There's so much data and information that can help kids out there.
Yeah.
And adults,
Yeah. Whatever age.
Your pro guys, doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't matter. There's just so much information and data out there that can have a huge impact. It's really an untapped potential.
I agree. We've had a couple kind of leading up to this announcement of you, being our remote hitting guy. What, we obviously had to learn some of the 3D terms and the technology that we have here with Qualisys. What stuck out to you? Like, what did you enjoy the most, or like, what was your favorite type of metric? Obviously, like you said, there's so much data and so many different variables and degrees and all of this stuff that a lot of people don't really understand. But what was something that stuck out to you?
I mean, everything that's out there is all about, how fast can you move, exit velocity, launch angle, throwing, same thing. How hard can you throw? So the velocities were to be expected. One thing that I find super interesting is, your elbow flexion angles. Where are they at contact? Where are they at right after contact? Where's your bat speed peaking? So those flexion angles from your elbows, I also want to get into the lower half a little bit.
Yeah.
And then also the sequencing. Like,
right.
Every guy is different, and that's what I love about the data is, we have there's more than one way to skin a cat. And there's some very unique swings out there, and with this information that we have, we can maximize.
Yeah.
We don't have to put everybody in a box, which I never believed in doing anyway. But now it's like, okay, we have all these numbers. How can we fit these pieces together to maximize every single person that comes in here?
Right. And that's kind of what I wanted to ask next. And you kind of already went into it, but I'll let you get a little deeper. Like, what is, obviously, like, you have so many different philosophies of hitting, right? Like, you have launch angle, you have guys with doing the bat like that, a whole bunch of crazy stuff out there. But you kind of, like you said, you kind of hit the nail on the head there where you said everyone's going to be different. But just dive into that a little bit more. What is kind of the philosophy that you preach to guys?
Yeah, I mean, look, at the end of the day, I want guys to consistently hit the snot out of the ball.
Yeah.
So guys that
do
are
damage.
Drop the head and do damage.
Yeah.
That's a slogan, right?
Yeah, drop the head and do damage.
Drop the head.
I just like do damage. I don't really.
Drop the head, do damage. Or
what do you think, Joe?
Throw the barrel and do damage.
Drop the head and okay. So Joey likes drop the head and do damage. All right, so that's what I guess we'll roll with that.
So guys that consistently drop the head and do damage.
Uh-huh.
I mean, I want guys that can swing as hard as they possibly can while still staying mechanically and biomechanically sound.
Yeah.
So that they're sequencing, everything is correct. Because hitting is different. It's a different beast, different animal than pitching.
Yeah.
Hitting, you're reacting.
Yeah.
So you need to make sure that your body and you're putting yourself in a position to do damage.
Drop the head and do damage.
Drop the head and do damage every single time you decide to swing. And guess what? If you're in a 2-0 count, I would much rather you swing through a pitch than slow your bat up and roll over to first.
Right.
Or to dip, manipulate your bat angle and hit a little flare to left, and go L8.
Yeah.
Swing hard. Obviously, there's
Swing your
times.
swing.
Swing your swing.
Yeah.
There's times for two-strike approaches, and that's fine. Two-strike approach, completely different ball game. But when we're in an advantage count, we're up there trying to embarrass the pitcher in front of their family.
Yeah. It's deep, and I love it. How is everybody so different? Like, I know we looked at a couple different reports. We don't need to talk about who they were obviously right now, but looking at a couple of different reports that we have in our system, what were some unique things that stuck out to you as far as like this guy does this well, but this guy doesn't do this well, but his exit velo's higher or whatever it may be.
Yeah, I mean, first, body type.
Yeah.
Looking at guys that have ridiculous exit velocities, that their body type's not necessarily all that impressive.
Mm-hmm.
But they can move and maximize their body. They're fast twitch. They're twitchy athletes where other guys, I have some people in mind that I've worked with that are big dudes, first basemen, have really small, compact swings, which there's nothing wrong with.
Sure.
They're moving a lot slower than those twitchy guys. So based on the metrics, exit velo is not going to be good.
Right.
But then something happens once that front foot lands and everything's connected.
Yeah.
And they are able to maximize what they have from when their front foot lands to contact. But we can get more out of them pre-swing, get a little bit more hip-shoulder separation, a little bit more fluidity to increase that rubber band effect there. So again, man, it's just there's more than one way to do it. Guys need to be comfortable, and that's another part of the philosophy. Like I don't want people to go up there not comfortable.
Yeah.
If you're not comfortable, you're not going to have confidence.
Right.
So you got to throw that in there as well.
Yeah, that kind of goes into this next question of mine is how important is the mental game? And obviously, like you said, we have all this data, all of these numbers and things that we can kind of, quantify swing with, but obviously kind of what gets lost in that sometimes is the mental game and just having an approach at the plate. What would you say to a kid that we have that has a perfect swing, let's say, like, I mean, everything metric wise is like fantastic. Exit velo's there, but there's so much swing and miss and he's struggling, what would you tell that kid and how would you kind of get him out of that?
That's a great question. Put me on the spot here.
Sorry.
No, that's all right.
Like
that's all right. I mean, then hitting is 99%, not 9. I'll say it's 90% confidence. Because you can go out there with a dog swing.
I mean, no, like Hunter Pence did it. I mean, in the big leagues for how long? The swing doesn't look pretty.
No.
But he's a freak athlete.
Freak athlete, got it done.
But got it done.
Got it done.
Doesn't throw well either.
Got it done at a high level.
Got it done at a very high level.
Got paid.
At a very high level.
It's all up here.
Yeah.
It's all up here. I mean, at the end of the day, doesn't matter how good or bad your swing is, that white ball is going to cross over the plate.
Right.
So are you going to be in a position to hit or not? Do you believe you can hit or not? In one thing that I felt like I was good at from a mental aspect, there's a lot I needed to work on, a lot I still need to work on. When I face those high velocity, high profile guys, that's when I was at my best. It was when I was facing the guys throwing 88 with sink, 92 with a cutter. I would get too big.
Yeah.
I'd get too long. This guy's dead meat.
Right.
Get a little too confident.
Yeah, it almost becomes too big of a beach ball almost, and like you get too big in the swing.
Get excited.
Yeah.
Instead of just trusting it and doing
Swinging
you.
your
So,
swing.
yeah, I mean, hitting is extremely mental. So, I mean, I would work with a kid and find ways to red light release. So if you have a negative thought, you can have negative thoughts in the box. But how are you going to get your headspace clear for that next pitch?
Yeah.
How you swing at a fastball high, curveball in the dirt, step out of the box, red light release. Make sure your mind's in green light, ready to rock.
Right.
So just finding different ways to connect in what works for the kid. Everything's different. I've had people step out of the box, pretend like there's a cheeseburger on top of the left field foul pole. Kids like to eat. He's a big boy. Couldn't hate on him.
Yeah.
It worked. So you imagine that cheeseburger on top of that left field foul pole and what he was gonna demolish after the ball game. Step back in the box.
Where was it from? Do you know?
That's a great question. Top
Where
three.
you go? Where you go? Yeah, what do you
top
got?
3 burger joints. Fast food. It gotta be fast food.
So drive-through. That's how I qualify fast food. It's like it has to have a drive-through.
Okay.
Like Five Guys is not fast food, I don't think. I think Five Guys is in a league of its own. Obviously, Northern Virginia staple, the best of the best. So what do you got? Drive-through burgers, go.
I only really actually no, I don't. McDonald's 3.
Okay. Fair.
Can't go wrong with a
Yeah,
classic
the
classic
arches.
cheeseburger.
Sure.
2, I'm going in and out.
Okay, West Coast people, there you go.
Number 1, without a doubt, I'm going Culver's. 2 miles down the road,
It is.
I'm going Culver's.
Actually, we just had this conversation today. Like, it came up where the kid was like, "Oh, I'm gonna go get Culver's after this." Like, that's actually a great choice.
It's a great choice. I
It's
mean,
got drive-through. It's
Midwest. I'm glad they have them down here in the Triangle.
Yeah.
No doubt.
Yeah. Okay. Going back to hitting, someone that really was an influence on me, and he's still the head coach at West Springfield, Jason Ohms. You know, I hit in high school a little bit and wasn't bad, but my swing not great by any means as far as like if you look at it. But he allowed me to kind of swing my swing and have the approach, kind of what you talked about right there, where it's just try to do damage, man. Like your swing sometimes is yours, and you can maximize it from a mechanical perspective, and that's what we do here. But at the end of the day, you got to see that white ball, and you got to hit that white ball as hard as you possibly can. So speak about Jason Ohms, what he's done to that program, obviously taking over for John James after he left, but that guy bleeds that program through and through.
He does. So yeah, I mean, he took the reins from John James and kept him going. Like one of my proudest moments was winning a state championship as a player, and then coming back and winning one as a coach with Coach Ohms.
Yeah.
That program's in conversation to win state every single year. They're in states every single year.
Sure.
They're not always the most talented. The team that he had this year was not the most talented, but
made a run.
He knows how to coach, and
they lost to that kid that was a first rounder, right?
Yep.
What?
Eldridge.
Yeah.
Kid was a stud.
He was early too, wasn't he? Like
he's a first round pick by the Giants.
Yeah.
Two-way guy.
That's right.
Throws like 98. Nice slider.
Yeah.
And supposedly can hit the snot out of the ball.
He does. He drops the head and does damage.
Yeah, he does.
So we'll end with this. Charlie, thanks for being here, man. But what can people expect from you during this remote process? What are some things that are going to be mainstays or staples of who you are as a person, and what are you going to bring to the table for them?
Yeah, I mean, first and foremost, high expectations.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care what background you have. I don't care how long you've been playing the game, how advanced or how unadvanced you are. I'm going to have high expectations. Now, granted, they're going to be different for everybody.
Yeah.
But I expect my guys to work
Mm-hmm.
and want to get better.
Yep.
And so that's what fires me up and sort of definitely does drive me towards this role. Number one, in addition to that, it's just getting after it and learning.
Yeah.
Learning, getting to know the guys, letting them do their thing in terms of being themselves and maximizing who they are as players.
Right.
Whether I got Bobby Wahl coming in trying to hit,
Hopefully not. I don't want to do that.
Not even sneaky. You had pop.
I had juice. But
You had big time oppo juice.
yeah, but
Leaky front knee, but you made it happen.
Yeah,
So
really bad front leg.
I'm bringing in Bobby Wahl. I'm seeing, okay, looking at his exit velos, maybe your knee flexion, the more bent it is, the farther you hit the ball.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Everyone's different.
Everyone's different.
That's the great thing about this place is we're constantly learning. Like Charlie kind of said, there's no one way of doing this. It's a constant evaluation process that we're doing, not only for the player but for ourselves, right? Like we're trying to learn as much as we can. We have so much data that we've already put in so much work on and learned so much from. But that process never ends. It's like anything. You want to be great at something, you got to continuously just drive the point home of that never-ending search for greatness. So, look, man, like I'm over the moon about you doing this. I'm so excited. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. So, yeah, remote hitting, guys, is now available. Please call, DM, whatever you want to do. Sign up. Let's get this thing rolling. Obviously, we offer all of our high-quality assessments are going to be the same thing for hitting that we do for pitching. We'll have our 3D motion capture, our mobility, our strength assessment, our athletic screen, rotator, all of that. So we'll take care of you. We're going to have a lot of stuff for you. It's going to be a lot of fun, man. Charlie, I'm excited for the ride. It's going to be a fun one.
Thanks, Bobby.
You got it, dude.